Thanks everybody for coming. Let's give a warm welcome to John DeMori. He's going to read from his book, The Boss Always Sits in the Back. Nice music. Take that guy singing. Especially that song. Really, you have no idea. I grew up in... Hey, how you doing? I grew up in the 50s, you know, and that came out, I think, around 55 or something like that. And every time, every kid I grew up with, they would sing that song to me, and it was just something we all heard around the neighborhood. Okay. Thank you all for coming out this afternoon to hear about The Boss Always Sits in the Back. I ask that you forgive me for reading this, but I've never been one to memorize things. It's also important that I mention that there might be some cursing and references to sex, violence, and pot smoking during the reading and the question and answer section. Should any of these subjects offend you, tough shit. This is a book about a New Jersey musician who hung out with mobsters. What did you expect to hear? And please turn off your cell phones, or women, put them on pleasure. Being it to be continued today is very special for me, and I'm grateful that you're here to share it. When Sergio and Karen invited me back, I couldn't say yes fast enough. I'd also like to thank, I don't know if anybody was listening on the radio the other day, but I'd like to thank Bert Barron for introducing me to this great bookstore and for his never-ending support and his belief in The Boss. And I'd just like to thank W. Did you hear the, yeah, you heard it definitely. Did you hear what Bert did, the interview I did with Bert the other day? Oh my God, he must have dropped the name of the store in a 10-minute interview or 15-minute interview. He must have mentioned the store at least 6 or 7 times.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. The guy loves you. So, okay. And because a few of you may have been to a previous Boss reading or two, I knew I needed to come up with something new, something you've never heard before. Believe me, this wasn't easy, and I hope you enjoy what I picked. But there are also those here who need a primer. So for them, I'm going to begin with a few words about what caused this story to be written and why it's so important to me. From an early age, I was taught the meaning of the word respect, and foremost that respect was to be shown to my family, my parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, and my cousins, of which I have many. Of course, at that time, I had no idea that respect and family would lead to such unbelievable events during a certain slice of my life. Up until my 40s, there were 2 very important men in that life, my father and my oldest cousin, who at my baptism became my godfather. I had no idea how strong the bond with these 2 men would become, a bond that had little to do with the same blood that ran through us, but instead it was a bond that was linked to the culture we were raised within. A culture that came with a code of ethics, rules, love, honor, and as always, respect. I'd eventually learn that adhering to this code could provide one with security, safety, and the respect of those around you. I also learned that to stray from this code could cause one to disappear faster than the time it would take to eat a slice of pizza. I knew these people were unique to our society, and I believed they needed to be written about. They needed to be immortalized. The only problem was that these people didn't like to be written about, though they all loved the idea of being immortalized. It's with this in mind that I'd like to read a few sections of a chapter which I call in the book, I call chapters rounds, you'll find out. In this case, it's round 15, so actually it's not true, I think it's round 13. Because some of you are unfamiliar with the story of The Boss, and since we're diving in 3/4 of the way through the book, I'll detail some of the people you're going to hear about in this round. Knowing who they are will make what you're about to hear more enjoyable, I hope. Rocco Casiano was the boss. That's all you need to know about. Tommy Dolan was one of Rocco's captains who ran the Vegas scam. He was known as the Irishman, and he didn't like me because my cousin Jerry, who got me involved in all of this, was Rocco's favorite captain. Rick Rogers, he was one of the guys, he was one of Tommy Dolan's guys that Tommy had working the Vegas scam. He wasn't from New Jersey like everyone else. He was from Newport Beach, California, and he looked it. Bobby Grant, Tommy Dolan's right-hand man, who I reported to while I was in Vegas. At the time, Bobby didn't like me, but over the previous 2 years, he learned that I was someone that he can count on. Salvatore Della Osa, this was Rocco's bodyguard. He was a very intimidating character and was known to hold a .45 Colt up to my head, just for kicks. Sandy was an attractive blonde crap stealer at the Tropicana that I was familiar with, but I was also smart enough never to take it any further than that. At the time, I was 24 and doing trips to Vegas for my godfather, Jerry. Though they all saw me as one of the guys, all I really wanted to do was continue my career as a musician. Okay. Yeah, sorry. It is from round 15. With my casino work finished for that night, I headed out to meet Rick at the Jockey Club. At 6'2" and with blonde hair, I knew he wouldn't be hard to spot. I found him at the bar with 2 attractive women in their mid-20s. John D'Amore, this is Patty, and a friend Debbie. We all shook hands as Patty cooed, "Ooh, D'Amore, that's a very romantic name." I smiled and said, "Yes, it is," and quickly changed the subject. "New friends, Rick?" He had a big Southern California surfer dude grin on his face, caused by one too many martinis, and said, "I met Patty here last night. She told me about Debbie, and I thought you'd like to meet her. I thought maybe we can all go out to dinner. What do you think?" At 37, his tanned good looks and muscular body made the most attractive women take notice of him. And these two were very attractive. I was sure they were hookers, but they looked good, and as long as we didn't have to pay them, I didn't mind having them around. I smiled and responded, "Sure, ladies, it would be a pleasure to have you dine with us this evening." Using my pull at the MGM, I got us comped for dinner and then into Neil Sedaka's late show. Didn't take long to impress them. By 2:30 in the morning, we were finishing a round of drinks when Patty said, "How about coming back to my place? I have some grass and a hot tub, and the girl I share my house with won't be home for a couple of hours." I didn't want to tell her that I had grass and a hot tub back at my place too, because I didn't want people in the room with nearly 80 grand floating around. So I said, "Sure." Seeing as they never mentioned money, my thoughts of them being hookers were fading. Then I looked at Rick and said, "You know not to mention this to anybody, right?" Right after I said it, and for some reason, right after I said it, and for the same reasons, I realized that I was reliving the conversation that Salvatore Della Osa had me, sorry, I lost track of everything for a second there, folks. Right after I said it, and for the same reasons, I realized I was living the conversation that Salvatore Della Osa had with me in the Harmon Tower elevator. But then, I didn't have a .45 caliber Colt to put against Rick's head. I quickly shook the thought out of my head as the Californian answered, "No problem on this end." Unfortunately, after we got to her house, I quickly found out that Rick turned into a babbling, big-mouthed asshole once he put his lips on a bong. I guess the combination of grass and alcohol caused him to lose his inhibitions, as well as his good sense of judgment. We were sitting in the living room getting high when Debbie innocently asked us what we did for a living and how did I get such pull to get comped at the MGM when I was staying at the Trop. Rick quickly blurted out, "'Cause we're scamming the hotels." I shot him a look that could have killed. "We get these credit lines and then scam the hotels out of the comp trips while these guys in Jersey..." "What the fuck are you talking about?" I said, while trying not to make it appear as though he was telling the truth. I turned to the women and said, "I've got a construction company in Newport Beach, and I do session work in Los Angeles. That's all. We come here from time to time, and we do pretty well as far as gambling, so we get comped at a couple of hotels when we're in town." But Patty took what he said with some interest and asked, "What do you play, honey?" "Craps," she loudly said. We work the crap tables. That's how we scam the cash from our credit lines. We bet opposite each other and..." "Hey, Rick," I said even louder, "what are you, an idiot? You know what the fuck you're talking about?" Patty and Debbie watched as I barked at him, but it was obvious that I was trying to cover something up. "Relax, John. These girls are cool. They won't say anything," he answered as he waved me off and took another bong hit. My eyes burned through him. I had to shut him up. I got up from my seat, walked over to this big, muscular guy, and as he lifted his head from the bong, I punched him right in the jaw. He never expected it, and neither did I. I stared at him. Rick took the shot and looked up on my angry eyes as I said, "Just shut the fuck up, okay? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, so shut up." Rick caught on, and we changed the subject, but it was too late. I tried to act as if nothing was wrong as I turned to the ladies and said, "Now, where's that hot tub?" Around 3:30, we were drunk, stoned, and ready to get into the tub of hot, bubbling water when Patty's roommate came home. The front door opened, and in walked a tall, attractive blonde. I immediately recognized her. It was Sandy, the crap dealer at the Trop, and after 2 years of seeing me in the casino, she recognized me too. We now had a problem, a big one. "That's Sandy," Patty quickly said. She just got off work at the casino." Shortly after the introductions, I said, "Rick, we gotta go." The girls and Rick, now with a swollen jaw, looked confused. "What? Why?" he asked. He wanted to get laid. "Come on, I told your wife I'd have you back before the sun came up. Let's go." My voice got stern as I barked, "Now!" We called for a cab and said our goodbyes. On the ride to the hotel, he asked, "What the fuck was that all about? Why'd you say we had to leave? We were going to get him in the hot tub, maybe even get all 3 of them in there." I pointed to the driver so that Rick would know I didn't want to discuss anything in the cab, but my anger made me say, "Shut the fuck up and wait until we get to the hotel." Throughout the 15-minute ride, we didn't say another word. As we approached the Trop's elevator bay, he said, "They don't know shit about us. What's the difference? We'll never see them again." "What are you, fucking stupid?" I yelled to this man who was several inches taller than me and more than a decade older. "You never talk about what we do to anyone. If Dolan ever heard you talk like that, you'd be dead in 1 fucking minute. Do you have any idea who that girl was that came home before we left?" He shook his head. "She's a fucking dealer right here in the Trop. She recognized me. And you told her roommate that we were scamming this hotel. I can't fucking believe you did that." He got the picture and was immediately ashamed and fearful of his actions. Once inside the elevator, I said, "Meet with me and Bobby for breakfast tomorrow at 8, and you'd better hope Patty was as fucked up as you were and that she didn't say anything to a friend." The doors opened. He was visibly nervous as he got out. I stayed on and went to my floor. When I got to my suite, I recounted the cash and chips, then called for a 7 a.m. wake-up call and went to sleep. As I sat down at the breakfast table of 6 other New Jerseyites and the blonde from Newport Beach with the swollen and now bruised jaw, I heard my name announced over the PA system. "Paging John D'Amore. Mr. John D'Amore, please pick up a house phone." I excused myself and went to the podium to take the call. "This is John Diamore," I told the operator. "Thank you, Mr. Diamore. Please hold a moment and I'll put your call through," she said. A few seconds later, the stern and concerned voice in the receiver said, "Is this the John Diamore in Suite 409? "Who's this?" I asked. "Joe Coons, the casino manager. Meet me in the lobby in 5 minutes." "Sure, Joe. What's the problem?" He quickly said, "See you in 5, and then hung up. I went back to the table and told Bobby Grant about the conversation that had just taken place. I don't know what it could be about," Bobby said in between drags of a cigarette. "See what he wants. Let me know what it is, and I'll tell Dolan." As ordered, I went to the lobby and found Joe Coons. I put my hand out to shake, but he didn't take it. "Take a walk outside with me," he said. It wasn't until I was going through the revolving doors that I noticed we weren't alone. There were 2 large, well-dressed muscle men behind me. We walked to a secluded section of the parking lot. Then he turned to me and asked, "Do you have any idea what one of your guys did last night?" I didn't answer. He got angry and said, "Don't play stupid with me. I heard you were there, too. One of your morons talked too fucking much to some bitch who lives with one of my dealers. She called the Casino Security Investigation Board early this morning and told them you guys were scamming the casino with your credit lines. Now every one of Dolan's casinos are going to close up on you because of some shithead who tried to impress some piece of ass. And take my word for it, none of us are going to take the heat because of one of your idiots from New Jersey. You got that?" I knew this would be a bad time to correct him and tell him that Rick was from California. I also knew the magnitude of what had just gone down, so I didn't utter a word. A limousine pulled up next to us and he ordered me into the car. "Mr. Smith and a couple of his friends from the investigation board are going to explain a few things to you. See you when you get back." As I slid into the rear seat with the two large escorts, I saw another guy sitting there. He looked nervous and appeared to have been punched around a bit. He didn't speak when I nodded to him. He just turned and looked out the side window. Mr. Smith, though I had a strong feeling that wasn't his real name, sat in the front with the driver. His muscle men sat facing me and the other guy. No one was smiling. We only drove for about 15 minutes before we were surrounded by sand and brush. The car pulled off the paved road and continued on the sand and dirt for about a half mile before stopping. The odd part was that the low skyline of the strip wasn't that far away. Mr. Smith got out and opened the passenger side rear door. The driver stayed in the car as Mr. Smith, his guys, the quiet passenger, and I stood in the morning sun. The supposed investigation board rep looked directly at me and asked, "Any idea why I brought the 2 of you out here?" I looked at the other guy. He started to weep. I looked at Mr. Smith and replied, "Nope, no idea." Mr. Smith pointed to the guy and said, "See this piece of shit? He tried scamming one of the casinos too." With that, one of Smith's men pulled out a pistol, shot the guy in the head. I jumped at the sound, then froze at the sight of the guy falling to the ground, motionless, with blood spurting from the hole in his skull. It all happened within a second. Mr. Smith, now flanked by the steroid twins, came close to me and pushed his finger deeper into my chest with each word as he told me to get your fucking ass out of Vegas and go back to Jersey on the next fucking plane. Because if you're not out of your room and out of Vegas by noon, your body will be in a fucking hole in this desert by tonight, and they'll never find you. And tell Casiano to keep Tommy Dolan out of this town. How long did he think we were going to let you take our money? Now walk your guinea ass back to the hotel, pack your shit, and disappear." Then he signaled his men. One grabbed me from behind. The other punched me in the stomach. I collapsed against the limo and slid to the ground as Smith turned and went into the back seat. His boys stared at me as if they were taking a mental picture, and then one at a time, they followed their boss. The limo pulled away, leaving me in a cloud of dust and next to a dead guy. I didn't move for at least 2 minutes, and each minute seemed like an hour as I wondered what to do. Then I realized that there were 2 very important minutes I just wasted. I had to get back to the hotel and out of Vegas quick. I had no intention of winding up in a hole in the desert. I gathered my wits, then started the long walk. I refused to turn around and look at the body laying in the hot sun. It took little more than an hour and a half to reach the hotel. As soon as I entered the lobby, I rushed through the casino toward the elevator. Then I realized I had to tell Bobby what just happened. I glanced at my watch. It was 10:35. I had to be out of the hotel and on a plane headed to Jersey by noon. I apologized for I went to a house phone and found Bobby in his room. Where the fuck did you go? I'll tell you when I get up there. Find Rick and get him in your room now. Rick was already in Bobby's room when I opened the door. They immediately saw the anguish on my face and my disheveled appearance. Jesus, what happened to you? Bobby asked. I looked across the room to Rick, who was looking down at the floor in a guilty pose. I took a long breath and explained what happened the previous night, minus the grass. Then I told him about the resulting limo ride and conversation with Mr. Smith and the guy with the bullet hole in his head still out in the desert. Bobby asked Rick if what I said was true. Rick admitted he talked too much and blamed it on the alcohol. He knew that if he mentioned the grass, I'd kill him. But Rick's bruised and swollen jaw was proof to Bobby that I tried to keep Rick shut. Bobby must have smoked 2 cigarettes during our 3-minute discussion. Get packed and get out of here. Then get back to Jersey quick, he told me. I'll tell everyone to get out of town. When you get back, call Dolan and tell him what happened. When I get there, I'll back you up. Thanks, Bobby. As I shook his hand, he pulled me toward him, kissed my cheek and said, "You kept your mouth shut. You did good. They'll know that when I get back." I didn't respond, but angrily looked at Rick as I walked out of the room. I had to bring the bad news back to the Irishman. That was the last trip we made to Vegas. That was it. The end of another era. One of the greatest times of my life and one of the greatest scams to hit Las Vegas. And it ended because some low-level idiot opened his mouth and wouldn't shut it. And because of that, the rules changed. The management of each of the Vegas casinos, along with the Nevada Gaming Commission, got wind of what we were doing and how we were doing it. Within a year, laws were written and enacted, not just by the Gaming Commission, but by the states of Nevada and New Jersey. After that, the guidelines to obtain a credit line became extremely strict, often needing a certified check in the casino's account before they'd comp the gambler anything. After the shit hit the fan, nobody was able to get a credit line based on the limited information that we used to give. We changed the way the old casinos ran their businesses. From that point on, corporations and accounting firms began handling the books. And with their paperwork, the mob would never have a chance of scamming them. It also meant that Dolan and Casiano's plan for scamming the Jersey casinos was now nothing but a dream. Casiano was pissed. In a private meeting at Andrew Hirschfeld's office, I was exonerated thanks in large part to Bobby Grant's verification about Rick's admission of fucking up. Then Casiano and Dolan thanked me for getting Rick out of the house before he can open his big mouth even more, and for bringing back Mr. Smith's message without saying anything about anyone to the casino manager or whoever Mr. Smith was, considering that my life was being threatened at this time. But what scared me most was when Casiano rose from his chair, walked over and kissed me on the cheek, and then said, "Sally, make sure he gets to the car. I was positive that thank yous were bullshit, and I was being set up for the hit that was about to take place. As Sal and I walked out of the building, he said, "I was listening to everything they said to you, John. I'm very impressed." He looked at me. Sorry. I looked at him. He didn't call me kid. He continued, "Every time something comes up where they need to count on you, you come through. You always seem to do what's right. It's almost as if you weren't trying at all." I was scared shit, Sal. When I was out in that desert with those guys, I didn't know what to expect. And if I didn't get out of Vegas in time, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd have some friggin' cactus as a headstone. You did what you were supposed to do. You let Bobby know what went down. You got that dumb fucking California fuck out of a situation that could have gotten worse. He may have mentioned Dolan's name, and the feds would have tied him in with Rocco, and that would have been bad for all of us, especially with all the heat that he's been under the last few months. And best of all, you got this guy Rick to admit to Bobby that he fucked up, which cleared you. Fortunately, Rick never said anything about the weed. So, he continued, I give you a lot of credit. I think you're a stand-up guy, and I want you to know that. I know I can count on you, and I want you to feel the same about me. Capiche? I just nodded and smiled. What else could I do or say to respond? I still thought I was about to get whacked. When we reached my car, he leaned down and embraced me. If the hit was going to happen, it happened now. But he turned and walked back to the attorney's office. I stood there, afraid to move, until he was out of sight. 3 weeks later, the Newport Beach police found Rick Rogers' body floating in his hot tub, riddled with a dozen bullet holes. I decided I needed a vacation from these guys. So this is that part where I say, I need a drink. And does anyone have any questions? I certainly hope so. You're setting me up. Go ahead.
From what you read, do you think, well, you probably know, I'm confused. Did the casinos know what, like, were they happily, playing along with it? Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge, I think the casino managers were, I don't really think they knew there was a scam going on. I think they thought that certain people that were in charge of this thing just seemed to be providing gamblers, because the credit lines were always paid back. So, and if you wanted to know why we would pay the gambling or the credit lines back, read the book. And thanks for that. Yeah, I don't think the casinos were knowledgeable about it. I don't think the casino managers or the pit bosses were completely knowledgeable. This is my opinion. I could be 100% wrong, but based on what I saw and how it went down for me, I don't think they did. I just think that certain people were getting a lot of pats on the back and friends because they were supplying 24 gamblers to come and play every couple of weeks. Yes, sir.
Hey, John. Question is about yourself. Production music. What type of sessions were you involved with? Who did you play?
I would love to tell you that I was like part of the Wrecking Crew, which is a famous group that played out of L.A., or that I was part of the Funk Brothers out of Motown, But I was just a lucky See, I started playing the guitar when I was 7, and not just I picked up a guitar and somebody showed me some chords. My father actually said, "You're going to take lessons," and I did. And I started learning how to read music at a very early age, and continued up until I was 21. So where the average guitar player or just musician would take lessons for a few years, I really took it to the nth degree. So that enabled me, by the time I was like 19 or 20, to be able to work on anybody's material, just putting charts down in front of me, and I could read them. So, I did have a wonderful stint with at a great time back in the early to mid '70s, playing Jersey bars, Jersey clubs down the shore and everywhere else, and when it was great, it was a great thing to do. But after that, I just lucked out. I was asked to go in and do a session. Now, with the sessions that I did, they were mostly jingles, a lot of commercials, jingle, a double mint gum was one of my big ones, and, but stuff like that, and TV theme songs, and game show theme songs, and wherever they needed that stuff. But it was a lot of commercials, TV and radio commercials, and we did get the occasional, singer who, a producer had a song that they needed done, and you'd go in. Joey Travolta, I wound up playing on like Joey Travolta's album. And you saw how much that sold. But that's stuff like that, where a producer or a record company has a talent that they want to do they want the song to reach number 40. It will never reach number 1, So they call in, musicians to play on the tracks. Had a wonderful career. Did it from, I would say, professionally, from the time I was about 22, 23, up until 32, 33. And then it's just like I got the job because of the last guy was maybe a little too old to play that kind of stuff. The next batch of stuff was happening, and it was the next kid's turn. Good question. Yes. Anybody else? Is that an arm over there, or was it just putting your jacket on? Come on. Yes, sir. Please.
This book, I know it's long, but is it good enough?
Is it long?
No, I'm saying it's a great book. I can tell it's a great book by what you were saying, but it's long enough to be in a movie, I'm saying.
Yeah, it is.
Good question.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, there is a screenplay. Yes, there's all talk about it out in L.A. Well, there shouldn't say all talk, but there's some. Of course, if you have $20 million accessible to you, you can be a producer.
Yeah, I got it.
There you go. I'll talk to you after this is all. Go ahead, please. Yes, ma'am.
And who would you want to play you?
Hate that question. One of the things that makes me interesting to these characters is, as you can see and imagine, you think of your favorite mob movies and what they all look like, except for Pacino and Pesci. They're all pretty tall. They all had that Robert De Niro, brown, olive skin, dark hair. I got blue eyes, light brown hair, and that was what made it funny for me to always be hanging around these big, almost 6-foot people who looked like that. And because of my relationship with my cousin, I got to grow up around these people. But my mom was from northern Italy, so I got the blue eyes and the light skin and the light hair. So who would play me? It wouldn't be somebody who would fit that normal mob guy type role, because that's not me. I really don't know. I'm sure that there's somebody in some current movies, maybe in some TV show that's ready to make that next break, but I don't know. And I'll be honest with you, I've really been asked this question often, and I really never have a good enough answer, only because I don't really follow what's going on out there with those kids. And living in California for the last decade and a half, and working in the entertainment industry, I certainly know that people say, well, you're going to be, you're the writer, so when, can you get me on the set? I'm lucky if they let me near the studio, So if I wouldn't even be able to say who could play me, even if I thought I knew somebody who could play me, because it really comes down to the producers, the talent agency that packages the product and who they represent. I don't know. They may have Chris Rock play me. Yeah, it depends if where the money's flowing that week.
Yeah.
Who knows? So I thought, who do you see playing me?
My question is, who do you?
Who do I Leonardo DiCaprio. But I think he's too tall. But that's why, that's who I see. And you got to remember, You got to remember in this part of the movie where it really takes place, I'm 22 to 24, 25 years old. And I don't know how, I think Leo's a little older than that now, you know? He doesn't return my calls anymore. Go ahead, anybody else, please? No? Then, yes, ma'am. Oh, thought I was almost gone.
What did you do after you were 32 and you finished the music?
Actually, let me see. Someone 1985. Yeah.
Join the gym?
I joined the gym. That's right. You're absolutely right.
That's where I met him. That's why I'm saying.
I joined the gym and cleaned up my act. Let's say, coming out of the music business, and then I got into the corporate world because you know, it was time to grow up. I was in my 30s. I wasn't going to be a famous rock and roll star. I didn't play on anything that was going to be bringing residuals in for the rest of my life. So I needed to grow up, according to my father. And so I cut my hair, bought a lot of suits, and worked my way up the corporate ladder, and did fairly well. Which again, you'll see if you read the book.
And you never felt threatened in
I
any
like the
way?
way all three of you wound up asking questions back there.
You never felt threatened in any way?
Not really. I was, was told way back when, because I'll be honest, and not that I want to keep you here much longer, but I'll be honest. I thought in 1975, when I first started participating in this stuff with these guys, I thought this was going to make this would have been a great story. Just what I had anticipated in the 4 or 5 days I had been out in Las Vegas, and I said that to my godfather. I said, "This would make such a great book." And the way I tell the story is this: this is a man who, came to see me the day I was born in the hospital, and a month later he held me over the baptismal. And he loved me. This guy loved me. I could do no wrong to him. He smiled at me every time I ever was in his company. Except this one time when I said, "This would make such a great book." And he stopped dead in his tracks and he said, "You can never tell the story until 3 people are dead." And he was the last one to pass away in 1999. I'm not giving up anything. The scam can't be done anymore. It's not like anybody's making money doing this. The people are all gone. I changed. The only names that are the same or real in the book are my family's names. Otherwise, everybody else's name has changed. But I'm not telling anything about anybody that probably, other than the scam itself, that hasn't been told before. Are you carrying a weapon right now? Yes.
3 of us together.
Is
We
your
are the
cousin
weapon.
still alive?
Is who?
Dave Toma.
My Uncle Dave.
Is he still alive?
Yes, he is. As a matter of fact, his 80th birthday was last week. I spoke to him.
And his wife, Pat.
His wife Pat is at my aunt and my godmother. Okay, he asked a question. He wanted to know, like, this man knows me well enough that he knows who my godmother and her father are. I would imagine anybody grow up like in the 50s, 60s, 70s around Newark, knowledgeable of that. Anybody remember a cop named David Toma that they made a TV show called Toma? Back in, it was Tony Masanti was the cop that played him. All right, it's about a real cop in Newark, New Jersey, who the TV series I think started around 72 or 73. No, maybe a little later, 73, 74, when all of this was going on. And Dave Toma married my dad's sister, who oddly enough was my godmother. So we always thought it was interesting that my godfather was pretty much connected one way. And my godmother was married to this famous cop that they wound up making back in by the 70s, made a TV show about, and now he goes around and he talks about, he, back in the 60s he arrested a lot of guys selling pot for $10. Back then that was a terrible thing, so they gave him a TV show and a medal. I love him though, he's a great guy. Anybody else? That's amazing you brought that up.
Well, it's because I've met him a couple of times.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I was reading your book and the information, that's where I clicked into
There
it.
you go. There you go. Anybody else? Come on. Nobody? You're good?
Did you surprise yourself when you started writing the book?
I've been
you
writing
always
this book
knew.
in my head since 1975.
Yeah.
And the things that happened in the 80s and the 90s that just added to it.
Okay.
That was great. How did you wind up reading the book before she even knew about it?
I just picked it out of the library.
No kidding.
Yeah, but I stopped reading it as soon as she said that, she met you, and I said, well, gotta go to the reading, I gotta get a copy of it, so I only read the first chapter.
Which library?
Paramus.
Oh, yeah.
You signed that one.
I sign anything you put in front of me. Okay, almost everything, okay?
We're getting ideas.
Okay, so anybody else? I'm real happy to do this. Yes, sir.
You still sometimes, wake up to have a nightmare about this and, think that a guy's gonna whack you sometime or.
I don't know. I don't know. For what? What am I doing? What am I telling?
You're telling the whole story.
About what? A scam that can't be done anymore that the casinos knew about? What am I telling? Really, you know what I'm saying? And there are a few people here who've read the book. I think I make these guys come out looking pretty good, Yeah. I'm not saying anybody's, we all had fun, and because of the kind of scam that it was, the casinos always got paid back. See, so
You were just borrowing.
we were just borrowing money and having a damn good time.
No, the characters are excellent. You
Let's ask a
like
question.
characters.
Yeah, you do.
You
do.
don't hate
Does
any of the
the
characters.
tailor shop really have all those photos all over the walls?
There's a picture of me with Al in his tailor shop. There are several pictures of Al with other people in the book, in the tailor shop. I was down in that tailor shop last week, and my picture's still right up there. Because you can't go to Secaucus without
I think
saying
it's
hi
hanging
to
in
Al.
some diner in LA too.
Say again?
I think it's in some diner in
My
LA.
picture? Shh.
The farmer's market or something.
Okay. Anybody else? You're not supposed to.
How's the audiobook coming?
Say again?
How's the audiobook coming?
Oh, the audio. There's an audiobook. Do you sell audiobooks? Is that the boxes of CDs and stuff? Great. We'll talk. People have always said to me, since I've been doing this, and that's only been since like May. They go, if they've never met me, or people who do know me, and they read the book and they go, if you come to a reading like this and you hear me and then you get the book, and I get these inevitable emails either on Facebook or on the Boss Always Sits in the Back website. They get to me. I bought your book. I read your book. I can hear you reading it. It's your voice when you're. I hear the inflections and which I was like, wow, I really feel sorry for that person at the beginning. But then after you get 50 or 60 of those emails and people come up to you and say, it really resonated. After so many of those, someone came up to me and said, I have a recording studio and I think we should make an audio book. And I was like, great, who should we get to read it? And you. I never did anything like this before, but we're halfway through it, and I'm actually having a lot of fun, and it sounds great. I really want to sound egotistical on that because I didn't think it would. And after we listened back to a bunch of stuff, I was very impressed, especially since I listened to a lot of stuff that's out there. So that's it. Thanks. Oh, wait, one more. Sorry, one more. Go ahead.
Well, speaking of audio, the collection of songs on that CD, is that something you envision that could be a soundtrack?
No, not
to
at
a
all.
movie?
Please understand that CD that you get if you buy the book or when you buy the book, or the CD that you get is just music that I just wanted to put there because these were the songs that I grew up with, and the songs or the acts themselves are referenced in the book. And if somebody's going to read the book, it's just something nice to listen to. It's not anything that I, because I'm, again, just like they probably won't allow me on the set. I don't think they're going to say, he wants Johnny B. Good on there. Yeah, okay.
Right. No, but I mean, would you envision that if you had?
Believe me, it's really funny you say that. I work in Los Angeles. I work in the screenwriting industry. When we do work on screenplays for studios, they want us to have these images of specific actors. When I wrote my book, I had no vision in my head of anyone specific. I didn't hear any music. I always had my own soundtrack. You know, if you can imagine, it's what I did for a living. When I wrote this book, let's just say, among other things that were happening to add to the creativity, I always had music playing in the background. So it was, you know, the music that I like to listen to. So now with that, I'm going to say thank you very much. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. You're in charge now.
Thanks everybody for coming. Right after this, we're having an open mic night tonight, so anybody who wants to stay, there's going to be music and some spoken word, so feel free to stay. Thank you.
I can't get the book. I got the wrong way.
The reason I brought up Dave.
I did. $5.
I see that.
I go to Vegas in the weekend.
You want me to start?
That's what I was thinking. I know, but I know it was 4 hours.
Okay, then I'll bring you back. You're going to take your own car. Yeah, I'm parked in the back also behind here. Okay, then you know where we're going, right? Okay. We all want to go in here. You want to get right. Okay, come outside and I'll tell you.
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy it.
You've never been? It's interesting.
No.
Yeah, I'm not. I only go out there when I'm working.
The Grand Canyon sounds
Very
very
short time ride away. Lake Mead, the dam, all that stuff. And I always forget to extend it. Well, you know, yeah, I'm always doing something.
I picked it up.
I need you.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Thank you.
I mean, it's good stuff.
Oh my God, that's the mother, but he's Mars.
This is my good friend, Diane. Very good friend.
Great selection.
Oh, what's her name? Debbie
You were talking about 10, 15 people left here. As soon as I turned this, different. You're not gonna run? Music out here. It's a collection. Yeah.
No.
Just my phone. I got a pen.
Yeah, I did.
No, this is
Just a happy dance. I'm gonna say it was so great seeing you. Definitely. I'm gonna. I tried to load some yesterday so that I could work on it on the break, and I had cable problems. And to play
Okay, thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you, my pleasure. This guy is Ed Bedford father was They live all the way down in
Sean, I'm your better half, honey.
Better half? What do you need? Just to Diane?
Diane and Dave.
And Dave.
Diane and Dave.
Well, he didn't say. Dave is good. Huh?
Okay. When I see you, so that you know, all right. But when you didn't touch his book, right. I didn't pay for it.
You didn't pay for it yet? Oh, they're sorry. She got paid for it. Then you give her the CD. Actually, the book is free. It's the CD that's going to cost you a lot of money.
Oh, did you give them the CD?
Everybody gets a CD.
Okay.
Did you get one? I'll get you. I know somebody.
Bye, honey.
You good?
Mwah.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I'm gonna go eat. No.
Snowing? Don't pick up any guys. There's a pole there.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's one of the shopping center, you know, with 4 snitches.
Oh, I did. You always know a guy.
What do you need?
Oh, yeah, sure.
It might already be signed. I signed
This is expensive.
Oh, is it? Good for you.
No. I'm actually going to Vegas next week.
So you got
There you go.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Because I took.
I'm sure you
No.
must.
I took John to see you guys in the spring last year, and it was one of the nights that. Yeah, Bobby Bandera. It was one of the nights that
Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying. You playing with him?
Yeah.
What do you play?
I'm a keyboard.
and it was one of the nights that what's his name was there?
Gene Cornish.
Gene Cornish.
Oh, yeah. I was on.
I wound up in his company like a couple of times, and I'm going to see the Rascals. Somebody got
That's
me
great.
a ticket.
Yeah.
It's taking me to go see the Rascals.
That was a nice plug you did.
It's a small, as you know, musical world in itself. It's very small. Extremely small.
Well, especially in that area. You know, probably another segment of it. I don't listen to it.
Well, I'm an old soul myself.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. The good stuff. Well, thank you for coming down. I can't believe it. Don? Say Don? Is there any more? If there is, I'm going to be. I'll let you know. And the weather was shitty.
Yeah.
I come home. Oh, yeah, wait, are you down in?
No.
Okay, thank you for coming.
People will be at the pub and they'll be walking around.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you. I started to read it. That was finished.
That was him.
That was him? Yeah. I'll look for it. Oh, reference.
And a lot younger. He's like a main person in the book. He's a main character in the book. He's like all over the book.
Is it signed?
Coincidentally, it's fine.
I signed a bunch.
First time I've come to one of these.
Thank you.
And it's really enjoyed.
They were, yes, you could see the West Coast
Yeah, well, our first is
I know, there was. She's been to like 8 or 9.
a lot of the F-bombs.
Yeah, I didn't do the CS bomb. I had a CS bomb, and I didn't throw that out there. So I didn't want the women to say, but yeah, I was reading, and that's why I was stuttering over my words. I'm like,
I can't say that.
You know, she's so I got this 21, 22, you know. That was a little tough on that. But she's up there in Bergen County, I'm sure she's heard it. Okay. Thank you so much. Did you see Con? Okay.
He's all.
So I'm really unhappy with him. Did she tell you? Did she tell you?
I thought you were working on it.
No. It was like constantly going through it. It was like, Emily, how's my hand?
The inside.
And she goes,
Did I read it? Yes, I read it. Cover to cover.
It's a good title. All you gotta do is this.
They don't do that anymore. Not on TV or anything. They film, and they don't have platform. They actually, it's an electronic thing.
Right.
That sends the film that somehow does something when the film is going towards feet. And then it actually, when it happens, it has an audio sound that goes.
Probably fine. Nobody snapped it down.
Probably insurance.
Yeah, I put right next to
What do you do?
Yeah, I walk in the studio.
She didn't even
But I hope this wasn't too much of a drive or anything to take the Parkway down.
Yeah, we took the Parkway. It's easy.
All right. Well, I'm just so, and you just like saw it at the library?
Yeah. The color. Right out of the shop,
Connie.
I saw it.
Right. Listen to this. So I said to him, what made you go? You're in the library. Very nice. Oh, gee, sorry. Take care. And I'll let her know what you think of the book, too, okay, please? 29. Thank you very much.
29. All right.
So,
All right, I'll go.
I just said to him, I said,
I'll be there.
you went to the library.
What kind of music?
Rock and roll. What made you do it? Now, remember when I went into that class on Monday?
Yeah.
And I gave reasons to why I
When did you
think
go out?
I do write a book. I think, you know,
Yeah.
make you feel like that. Psychologist.
Yeah. When you were going to Vegas to play with Mom.
And I gotta tell you, even
With John.
I'm like,
Well,
With John. With John.
that's not what you're gonna hear.
But
You're gonna read.
Shoot crabs, Tate. I gotta shoot crabs.
Hey, this is Diane.
Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And so I guess you'll pick it up where she's doing it. Okay, who gets to read it first? All right, thank you very much. Really, that's right. And I'm gonna want to see, you know,
It's very simple.
because she's got some other footage firm up there, you know.
See that brown power cord?
Yeah, the
And if you, at any point, say no, that's why you have to take a picture.
It's all about being.
Water,
might as well, right?
She's gonna give you some interviews with people.
No, because I walked in the guy like, thank you.
That's what it is. Good, I'll keep
Well, I
it
see
going.
it over there.
All right.
A brown one?
Yeah, but it's all
Stay a lot of recycling.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah.
That's not the brown one.
Yeah, I want to do a picture.
Come on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I'm ever tired.
Just do it now. Get his book.
No.
Get his book. Get his book. You look great. Get his
Well,
book. Get his
oh,
book.
that's round. Yeah.
You look great.
Yeah, that's right.
No. You're unstretching me.
Closest I'm gonna get.
Really?